What's going on, guys? Top Tier Gaming here, and today I have a Steins Gate deck profile. This is a very D-mail focused Steins Gate deck profile, so it runs D-mail and a lot of the cards used to support and abuse the mechanic of manipulating your level zone. It has a lot of really good ways to gain advantage, and I just hope to sort of explain why I'm running what I'm running in this deck profile, explain my choices, and yeah, let's just get straight into it, starting with level 0. So first, we start with 4 of this Kurisu runner. She's just like a vanilla runner. She's not a mill runner though, which means she can kind of just do it whenever she feels like, which is cool because you never have to worry about hitting a climax, which is nice. The fact that she is a vanilla runner as well means that she's 2k power, which makes it harder for your opponent to actually like reverse her. They have to have 3 like beat stick level 0s, because if they open like 2 zeros that are beat sticks and 1 utility 0 that usually has like 1k power, they can't actually reverse her, and she just has a much higher chance of actually netting you the +1. So being a vanilla runner isn't bad at all, just 2k free runner. Up next, 4 of this Mayuri Riki. So this is of course a Riki, which is obviously just a very powerful effect for gaining advantage, but she's also a Gear of Destiny, which becomes very relevant at level 3 for this deck, because a level 3 works with your gears. This is a cool Riki because you pay 1 and you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you select one of those cards you reveal and put it in clock, and then you salvage a level 1 or lower character. This is great because she also mills cards from your deck. She technically mills 3 cards, which is really cool instead of just like the regular top deck goes to clock Riki. She can also like color fix in that sense. Just get certain things you need in your clock. But other than that, yeah, she is just a +1 Riki. We do play 4 of her because she is, again, necessary as a Gear of Destiny. And Rikis are just very powerful, so we will take the +1 where we can get them. Next is 4 of this Mayuri. So this is the main hand filtering in the deck. It's a top check. If it's a lab member or a metal upa, you can add that card to your hand and discard a card. So standard like top check hand filter. What is really annoying about this card is the fact that it says metal upa instead of an event. The metal upa was an event from the TD that we are not playing. We are playing D-mail. So it actually misses on D-mail, which sucks, but it still has way more targets that it actually doesn't miss on, which is great. And then its second effect is just like crazy to me, and the reason I do play 4 of it besides like color fix for blue. On attack, it can give a character you control 1500 power. That's kind of crazy in my eyes. Like 1500 is so much for a level 0 to give. I know like a couple level 0s in other sets also have a similar power boost. But just the fact that this like hand filters and has that crazy boost, this helps you at your level 1 game, at your level 0 game, like just always making sure you're able to reverse things. 4 may seem like a lot, maybe, but there is a good reason. We are running a lot of level 0s, and I'll explain sort of the reasoning behind that once I finish talking about all the level 0s. So next up, the card that makes this deck work and tick is 4 of this Okabe. So this is like the main card of the deck. It's very similar to the Ellie from Milky Holmes. That is very good. You might hear me make a couple of Milky Holmes comparison like analogies in this video because the sets are very similar because they're both levels of manipulation and they have similar cards. And throughout the video I'll sort of express my thoughts on the 2, but I feel like this card is the reason that this deck, in my opinion, in some scenarios can actually be better than Milky Holmes, like hot take I guess. But I do not feel like Milky Holmes is a straight upgrade to this deck, and I hope to sort of explain why. But yeah, this card, when a card enters your level zone, you can pay 1 to either look at the top 3 cards of your deck, select a lab member character or a D-mail, and add it to your hand. Essentially this means that you can plus on your turn and your opponent's turn, which helps generate like so much advantage. And its second effect, which is super underrated, is the fact that it can also pay 1 to select a character you control and give 1500 power. A lot of people don't like enjoy this effect or really utilize it to its potential, because what people fail to realize sometimes, or maybe they do realize it and they just don't think it's worth it, is if you bump a character 1500 and it saves your character, that is a +1 just like the first effect. But not only is it a +1, where you keep your character, meaning you're playing less cards from your hand, you can also deny your opponent climax combo reverses, completely mess with like your opponent's whole strategy, and just further wall your opponent. And walling in this deck is very important, and it's one of the reasons we do play so many zeros, because this is 16 zeros so far and we're still going. So 3 of this Kurisu, so she is another Gear of Destiny with this Mighty. These 2 are needed in your level zone for a level 3 that we will get to later. She's also a 500 global, but most importantly, she's able to swap cards in your level zone, meaning you're able to proc this Okabe on your turn kind of whenever you don't actually need to level up. You just use this, tap 2 characters, and you can actually select a character you control to give it +1 level as well, which lets it get over suiciders and bombs and things of that nature. But being a 500 global, being a Gear of Destiny, and being able to proc this Okabe it just means this card is super important to the deck. Something we definitely want to see rather quickly. And then 1 of this Suzuha. So this is sort of like a flex spot I'm playing. It's not like a mandatory pick, but the climax combos we're running is shot trigger and gate. And the thing about these triggers for climax combos is there's no like way to add them to your hand. It's not like gold bar or pants, where they tend to find themselves in your hand just through their own effects. So we are using this, which is a climax salvage. You pay 1, discard a climax to salvage a climax, just so we can sort of ensure we have the correct climax at what level we are. Like if we have a gate over the shot trigger at level 1, it's kind of annoying, but we can use this effect to add the shot trigger from waiting room instead. So it's just the flex spot I choose to play. Yeah, so this is 20 zeros, which may seem like a lot, but like I said, this deck has a wall strategy, where you essentially are using D-mail, which is a backup, to save your characters, which means your opponent's characters get reversed, therefore they leave the field, therefore they have open slots, and zeros can really abuse open slots for free. Like, it means you have an open slot to just play this, and then pump like your level 1 climax combo to make sure it actually gets the reverse. It just gives value to zeros, being able to not run into something that's just bigger than them and sandbag, because the spot is open, dealing direct damage and stuff. So yeah, just 20 zeros. You'll notice something about this zero lineup as well. We're not playing the Brainstormer currently. My back row is always this Kurisu and this Okabe, so it's very hard to like find a spot for the Brainstormer. But I do want to like make an attempt to run 2 of it, because I just feel like the Brainstormer would be very good. Sometimes you don't need this Kurisu and you can like move her up into an open spot and play the Brainstormer if you need to. It's an option I'm considering. Maybe take out like 1 of this Mayuri and maybe the flex spot. I don't know. You could alter the ratios to try to fit 2 Brainstormer, because I think the Brainstormer is a good card. But yeah, I just can't find the room right now. We're already at 20 zeros, which is not only relevant because we're playing a wall strategy, but it's relevant for our level 3 Okabe as well, which again I will get to at level 3. On to level 1s, 4 of this Kurisu. So she's the main climax combo. At level 1, she comes with the shot trigger. So if you have 2 or more other lab member characters, she's 5/5, so she has vanilla power, which is, there's a reason it's less than 6k like most climax combos hit. And that's because of her actual climax combo effect. So on reverse, you can salvage a lab member or D-mail from your waiting room. So super good, because D-mail is an event. It tends to be very difficult to like find the synergy that maybe Milky Holmes has, but because so many cards search D-mail as well as like lab member characters, the synergy is there. You can very easily abuse D-mail, just as if it were a character. This also sets up like your level 1 game, your level 3 game, things like that, adds the Mayuri hand filter back. So just a good overall +1 climax combo. And then she can also choose another character you control and give it +1k. I assume that's the reason she only hits 5/5, is because like the first one you can use to run over a level 0 or something you're guaranteed to run over, and the second one's like 6/5 before climax, you know, so 7/5, which is bigger than regular climax combo power. So, you know, the power boost is pretty nice, and it helps you like get over things maybe you weren't supposed to get over. So overall, a very good +1 climax combo. And next up is 4 of this Dr. Pepper Kurisu. This is like the main beater at level 1, also the main sort of wall besides your climax combo here. So if a card enters your level zone, she gains 1500, making her a 107k, which is great because it's, you know, both on offense and defense through D-mail on defense, and, you know, your Kurisu assist on offense. So she's usually about 7/5, before like climax or backup, which is really great for a 1-0. She can't side attack, so she does have that demerit, but when you're using D-mail as a backup, and you have your assist, this card can actually hit 11k on defense, which is crazy, even reversing some like level 3s. So yeah, that's pretty just overall amazing like walling capabilities. Hitting 11k is crazy. You normally hit like 9.5, but you can hit 11k, so that is good to note. And then for D-mail, so if I'm ever going to make some Milky Holmes comparisons, I think now is the best time to do it. So here's one of the biggest differences between Milky Holmes and Steins Gate is D-mail versus their backups. So the first thing to note is D-mail is an event. This is actually super good in my eyes. Like, it's obviously events aren't as good as characters because they have less searchability, but the fact that this is an event, some people forget, like, you can actually use it on your turn. So there's like many times where maybe you don't have your Kurisu assist, but you need like the +1 from your Okabe, and this card can actually like do that for you. You can also just like use it as a 2k pump to get over like big threats, or put itself in waiting room to salvage with the Kurisu, things like that. So the option is there. It's very niche. You don't do that often because you'd rather use it as a backup, but it is there because it is an event. It's only 2k power as opposed to Milky Holmes like 3k power, but the fact that this doesn't have to put a climax in your level zone is great. Like, many Milky Holmes players, you know, they'll say that putting the climax in level zone isn't a big deal because you can just switch it out, which is true. But there are situations where if you like ask a Milky Holmes player on an honest day, they will tell you that they have lost a climax in their level zone on refresh, or depending on their playstyle, they may not have just used the backup in general because they would have lost the climax on refresh. This avoids that entirely. Like, your opponent can't really decide, okay, they have 6 cards in deck, so there's no way they'll use their backup because it will like mess up their compression. Steins Gate avoids that entirely, and I think that's super, super good. Of course, 2k is less than 3.5, but like I said, people really underrate this Okabe's ability to get 1500, because essentially you could make this like a 1-1-3-5 backup that can split its power. So I could back up this Kurisu, who with an assist is 6k, make her 8k, which is usually enough to reverse, and I can pay 1 to give her 1500, which puts her at 8.5 or 9k without even backing her up. And that generates me not only just a +1, but I deny a climax combo reverse here. I think that's just super, super good. So yeah, you'll notice it's my level 1 is 12 cards, and there's only 3 different cards. There's something to say about like having options, and you know, variants can be good, but in Steins Gate, I just want my deck to do what it's supposed to do every time, which is manipulate and abuse D-mail and wall my opponent. And these are just the 12 level 1s that guarantee I'm going to do what the deck wants to do every time. So while there's something to say about having options and variance is good, variance can also be bad if your deck loses consistency because of it. So I just prefer to play those 12 level 1s. I do think like the level 1 Ferris, like Suicider has use, but I'm not running it in this build. So we have no level 2s actually, 0. You can play the Mighty Anti-Change, but I feel like it's not needed because of this next card I'm about to explain. Because it sort of deals with the same threats but much more efficiently, and that is 3 of this Okabe. So straight into level 3s because there are no level 2s. So this is the Okabe that needs the Gears of Destiny in level zone, and then he gets -1 level in hand. On play, he can top check the top card of your deck. If it's level 0, you can put it in stock. It's just another reason we are playing so many zeros, is that we hit more often with this guy, because when he's a 3-1, it's great because he means he's a super efficient card. And his last effect is when he enters the field, you can select a character your opponent controls and bounce it to hand. Selective bounce is super, super good. Like, there are matchups where this card is completely bonkers and just completely broken. And there are matchups where he's like average, but even when he's average, he's like a 9-5 beat stick, so you can actually like win fights and lanes at level 2. Selective bounce mostly is super, super good versus anti-change. So if you're playing against Heaven's Feel or Goblin Slayer, like, this card is amazing because you just can tell their anti-change no. Super, super good. And it's just overall really good for just really annoying things that your opponent has to pay a lot of stock for maybe. He just sort of allows you to have made them spend resources, but not any, like, don't gain any profit from it. Next up is 4 of this Kurisu. She's the main game ender of the deck. This is the exact same card. It's just different art. In fact, a lot of people tend to argue about which art is better. All I'm going to say is that, you know, Weiss Schwarz, they make A and B arts. This is the A art, this is the B art. But in Steins Gate, you know, if you know anything about it, there's 2 timelines, and in the B timeline, spoiler alert, Kurisu is actually dead. So I think that tells you which art is better because one of these is actually alive. Let's just get that out the way. Fun little lore fact of the day. But yeah, this Kurisu is the main game ender of the deck and what you're trying to set up all game. So to resolve 3 of this, you need to be going into level 3 with 10 stock, which makes this deck a little stock hungry. Sometimes so you have to kind of play while you're staying cognizant of this card like in the back of your mind. But yeah, it's super good. So on play, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, select one, add it to your hand. Super good for adding more of herself and finding your climax combo if you don't have it with the gate. She's also 11-5 on offense because she gains 2k if all your characters are lab members on your turn. And then her climax combo is when she attacks, pay 2, discard 1, burn for how many level 3s you control. That's pretty good because it sort of, you set up how much damage you want to deal. Like if you only need to deal 2 damage, you maybe only play 2 of this Kurisu, right? If you need to deal 4 damage, which is a lot, you can play 3 of this Kurisu and an Okabe in the back or something. So being able to manipulate how much damage you're dealing is cool. Her cost is sort of hefty, which is why I say the deck's kind of stock hungry. But yeah, this is just a superb like game ender. Just very good at closing out the game or pushing for damage when you're behind. So very good and important to sort of set up, hopefully that you can resolve 3 of this. But then we have 3 of this Mayuri as well. So she is an assist level 3. But just like the Okabe, she is also technically a 3-1 because she can discard a card to put the top card of your clock into your stock. So stock heal, always super good. So yeah, we did want the healing option. She gives 2k in front, which can help your Kurisu reverse things. But there are some times where you actually want her in front. So like say your opponent's at 3-4 and you need to deal 3 damage. You don't want to play like 3 Kurisus and this Mayuri because you'll be burning for 4, which will more than likely be cancelled. So you can just put 2 Kurisus in front and a Mayuri, play your climax combo, burn for 3. So there's some times where like her 7-5 power, although that is very small for a level 3, it's actually a lot larger than most level 3 supports tend to be. So it's really cool she's 7-5. She also has an effect where you can tap 2 to change a card in your level zone to give something +1 level. Not super relevant, but it is there in case you do need to proc the Okabe for some reason. So yeah, 10 level 3s. And lastly, climax combos. We have 4 of the shot trigger and 4 of the gate. Gate, obviously regarded as just a super powerful climax. Everyone loves gate. Shot trigger, I feel like some people are on the fence about it. And like 5 years ago, when I was, you know, playing Weiss back then, shot trigger always seemed so like unimportant or not very valuable. Nowadays, like I just feel like shot trigger is actually so good. I've like ended people so many times with just shot trigger, kill them from 3-6 or 3-5, and then they go to 3-6 and then they refresh. It can just close out games and like scum wins when you're not supposed to, which makes shot trigger a really fun trigger for you, maybe not so much for your opponent. But yeah, I really enjoy playing with shot trigger. Overall pretty fun. So yep, this was the Steins Gate deck profile. I think the deck has just so much potential, and I feel like it's actually super good and super underrated. Like people tend to say Milky Holmes is just an upgrade, which I tend to hard just disagree with. I don't feel like it's a straight upgrade. I do think it has options Steins Gate doesn't, and vice versa. Mostly when it comes to what climax combo you're playing, and this Okabe. But I feel what like took Milky Holmes 4 sets to do, Steins Gate does really well in 1 set. And just has a lot of options and honestly is super good. So yeah, I hope I explained sort of my choices, why I'm running what I'm running. Hope you enjoyed the deck profile. If you're looking for Weiss Schwarz content, I do upload videos every other day. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. This was Top Tier Gaming. Bye YouTube.